The Floof Squad is complete. Tess and Danix round out the team in this new pack of enamel pins. The Lightning Lady has gold and silver glitter enamel because she's made of metal, plus a glowing ball of lightning to toss at the nearest dragon. They're on sale for a limited time, link below. Hello everybody, welcome to another detailed Diatribe. I am Blue and I'm joined by Red. I almost said it backwards because I'm used to how we do it on the podcast and I just got real confused, so oh boy. Paternity leave has been great. This is my first video back properly, and I'm not on enough sleep to be doing this right, but we have an upload schedule, so we're going to have some fun.
I'm excited for this because it's going to be the DDDD on account
of how... It is the DDDD.
Yeah, finally, the stars align, it's the DDDD. I have far less justification for why I also didn't get enough sleep, but this one's going to be interesting and fun. I guess it's very method of us.
You were playing games, your Dungeons and Dragons, you were too busy playing D&D
I was
to do the
DDing
DDD.
instead of the DDDD, yeah. Oh, God.
Hey, bro, I heard you like D&D, so I DD'd in the when, and then when you when.
Good start. We're really nailing this.
So today... Oh no. We are talking about Daredevil and how Daredevil makes the hard call, specifically in the context of why the world's saddest Catholic is Marvel's most compelling hero, and it is not close. But we are talking specifically about the Netflix show, because that's the one I've seen. Mm-hmm. I'm not really a comics guy. I haven't seen the second season of Daredevil Born Again. I saw the first. It was pretty good. It was all right.
Yeah.
I could tell they were working towards what happens in the second season, but at time of recording, it is uploading partway through, so I haven't watched any of it yet. I'll get there.
Yeah.
I'll get there.
Eventually.
I still need to go back and watch Andor. My media habits are screwed. But
yeah.
We're talking about the Netflix show, like the Catholic God intended. That will become very important for us later.
Oh, goody.
But first off, before we get into the specifics of the thesis, why show good?
My
there are a few
part.
things that I like, and Red, feel free to throw in any of yours if you have any particular preferences, but I like that this is a very slow burn criminal conspiracy that requires all of Matt's skills as a lawyer and the ass-kicking of a Daredevil. In the same vein as Batman is the best when he gets to be a detective, Superman is the best when he gets to be a journalist, Daredevil is the best when he also gets to be a lawyer. It's a lot more interesting, the kind of stories you can do with a character who is also like smart and has that investigative skill. It leads to good unraveling of the storytelling. The whole inciting thrust of the show and what's going on in New York is a direct consequence of Avengers and the incident, the Battle of New York with the Chitauri invasion, Hell's Kitchen being basically completely flattened, presumably by like a couple Leviathans crashing into it.
Yeah, reversing gentrification.
Yeah.
One explosion at a time.
Yes. And the resulting real estate boom from trying to rebuild it, being criminally inspired. Fisk and his empire are extremely threatening, very terrifying in how they go through their evil schemes. They don't just beat people up. The first episode shows this guy getting like accosted in a park of like, hey, mister, you owe some guy some money. We bought out his debt. You owe us now, but the sum is too small. We want the fact that you're a prison guard. And by the way, if you don't, we'll kill your college-age daughter. Guy's like, okay, yeah, sure, cool, whatever you want, man. The fact that they're able to basically twist everyone's arm is very compellingly threatening. They do a really good job of selling how effective these guys are at getting their little hooks in everything in the city.
Yeah. I think that there's a running theme throughout Daredevil that I think helps make it very compelling, which is nobody wants to be doing what they're doing. Matt does not want to be Daredevil. There's the Catholic guilt of it, but there's also just the simple, the feeling I think a lot of us feel of like, if I'm aware of this suffering, how can I not try to take action against it? And with Matt, have I skipped ahead like 17 slides? Hell
you
yeah.
skipped to the second to last slide. We'll get there.
Speedrun strats. I've BLJ'd into the corner and clipped through to the final part. But I do think that it's not just Matt. Obviously, Matt is our focus character, because the thing he does not want to be doing, we as the audience, we do want him to be doing. We want him to be a superhero. This is a running theme in a lot of modern superhero media, is that it feels like a lot of the writers don't really understand why anybody likes superheroes, so you end up with superheroes that are like, I shouldn't be a superhero, it sucks actually, maybe I should simply stop. And it's like, no, get back on the poster, you idiot. Whereas with Daredevil, it's like, Matt is like, I want to do things right. I want to follow the law. Basically, he's constantly at war between, is it better to be lawful or good? And the fact that in order to be good, he puts on devil horns and kicks the shit out of people at night. It's like, the fact that this is objectively kind of doing good is feels like he's constantly at war with himself over this. But at the same time, Kingpin's entire MO is forcing people to do stuff by leveraging their loved ones. And basically, it's like, in each case, they have to make a choice, and both options are terrible. So for Matt, it's like, either I pretend I can't hear these horrible things happening all the time, and I close my ears off, and I just be a good little lawyer, and I follow the law, and I let things slip through the cracks, or I go out, damage the integrity of my moral compass and my soul to do what I feel is necessary. And with everyone that Kingpin is basically holding hostage, it's like, either I do what this criminal is telling me to do, breaking laws, hurting people, or I let my loved ones suffer and die. Both options bad, but one of them slightly less bad. And it's just an interesting point of contrast that nobody wants to be doing what they're doing, except, even Kingpin doesn't seem like he's having fun with any of it. He just kind of feels like this is the way he has to be.
He is a fascinating character in his motivations, and we're not really going to be talking about it today because it's not really the thesis, but Kingpin is a whole bundle of wacky, confused thoughts and motivations.
He's kind of a fixed point in the narrative in a weird way. He's very solid and stable. He doesn't seem... First of all, it helps that he's not really concerned with the morality of his actions very much. That feels like, it's in a sense, like when you watch this show, you kind of get the feeling that all these characters' lives would be easier if they just didn't care so much about this stuff, and Kingpin is that guy. Kingpin is the guy who just doesn't care about that stuff for the most part. He can just do these terrible things, and it slides off him like Teflon, kind of. Whereas with, like, Matt, you know he's thinking about every single thing he's done every day of his life forever. Whereas with Kingpin's like, oh, someone is dead that I didn't intend. Okay. And like Kingpin will throw temper tantrums. He's not stoic and emotionless. He's deeply twisted in many different ways, but he does have the benefit. And then at the end of the show, or at least at the end of season 1, he no longer has that benefit. He doesn't have the benefit of not caring. He too is caught in the trap that his life would be easier if he simply didn't care.
Yeah, him and Vanessa are... Especially in season 3, there's a great dynamic with them. But we're not really talking about season 3. We're focusing mostly on season 1.
Oh, we're not talking about season 3, the best season.
The best season actually has the least to say about the thesis.
Wow.
I'd say we'll get there, but we won't get there by virtue of it not having as much to say about the thesis.
Hot dog.
You'll see. You'll understand.
Okay, let him cook.
The intense stakes of the show and the action being rooted very much in the kind of grounded, claustrophobic, like the hallway fight, the classic from episode 2 of the show. The whole show is a giant hallway fight. The walls are always so close to you, and the pressure is so strong. There's an entire episode where Matt is basically stuck in a building with police on all sides. There's an episode where he is being taken care of by Claire the night nurse, and there are some of Fisk's goons basically like going floor to floor checking the building, and Matt has to find his way out of this like apartment building. It's not very superhero-y set pieces, but the fact that it is like, oh, yeah, me as a person knows how hard it would be to get out of a building without people seeing. Now apply that to people who want me dead. Okay, also I just fell off a building in the last episode, so I'm kind of a little bit on the back foot here. They do a very good job of building these very tense, claustrophobic kinds of sequences and set pieces and just the general vibe of, like, in the first 3 episodes, Karen can't go anywhere without her being, like, attempted murdered.
Yeah.
It's just, it is constant for her until eventually they get her into a kind of safe scenario.
It's so
And then also,
stressed.
speaking of Karen, her, Matt, and Foggy as a trio are hilarious. The show is so much the antithesis of Marvel humor, where it is actually so funny. Matt is hilarious, Foggy is hilarious, Karen is hilarious. They bounce off of each other so well, and they all have their own unique comedic voices, where the kind of joke that Foggy would make is only for him. The kind of thing that Matt would say that is hilarious is only for him. There's a very kind of character-driven comedy in a way that is the opposite of Marvel movie bathos that we're used to. So I saw some clips online of, like, Nelson, Murdock, and Paige being a comedic trio for like 5 minutes straight. And there's like 40 of these videos. There's just so many clips to pull from there. Anyway, it's good stuff. It's good stuff. But local kingpins inquire, who is Daredevil? You did click the video, so I feel like you kind of know, but I feel like we might as well take the time to be thorough and go through this. We have, on the one hand, Matt Murdock, blind defense lawyer, devoted, tortured Catholic.
Yep.
And on the other side, Daredevil, crime-fighting vigilante, angry red devil. Those two things are in opposition, lawyer to vigilante, Catholic to a devil guy. That's... Man, the obvious read is like, whoa, he's blind, just like Justice, like, holy, whoa, the symbolism, and like, OMG, holy piss, he's a devil. That's like the opposite of what Catholics are about. What could it mean? The symbolism, whoa.
Symbolism.
That's the kind of like uncharitable, basic kind of read that oftentimes is like, wow, look at this thing. It's like, okay, cool. Yes, that is great.
Me and the other symbolism enjoyers when the Catholic guy puts devil horns on and punches people.
Yeah, seriously. The affinity between Matt being blind and Justice being blind is those are the same things. The kind of contrast between Matt being Catholic but dressing like a devil, they are opposites. And the more important and more interesting of the two is in this kind of opposite area, this tension and the drama that makes for good television of... It's not, oh, Matt is this thing, and then also Justice is this thing, and whoa, look at that, they're the same. It's like, okay, cool, great. But it's the very Matt Murdock-y, constant being ripped apart from both sides of your moral compass that is the much more interesting one, and that's the side we're going to dig into a little more here.
It is interesting, though. I do want to say Matt is not the only character who's, the only superhero whose secret identity and superhero identity are sort of at odds with each other. I mean, obviously, more dramatic instances are things like the Hulk, where it's like Bruce Banner, mild-mannered scientist, Hulk, brawn over brains kind of thing. Even in like older versions, back when Thor had a secret identity, it was like Thor is this mighty god being, perfect in every way, and his secret identity is Donald Blake, a disabled doctor who spends his life trying to help people with their problems. Like, it's, it's common for there to be points of contrast, but it's also common for the superhero identity to be kind of aspirational in a way, even in cases of the Hulk where Banner's like, oh no, I hope I don't turn into a giant guy who has none of my problems and an exciting different batch of problems he's uniquely equipped to deal with. That would be just awful. Like, there is still an element of wish fulfillment of like, what if when I got mad I actually became everyone else's problem and they kind of had to deal with that rather than just walking all over me. And like Spider-Man, Peter Parker versus Spider-Man, that's a pretty common one where like Peter Parker's kind of a loser dork, and especially once he becomes a superhero, his social life suffers, his girlfriends various don't like him, his teachers think he's lazy, but then as Spider-Man, he gets to have a ball, swinging around, having fun, quipping all the time, making friends, flirting with Black Cat. Like, there is an aspirational element to the superhero identity. And even in the more well-adjusted ones like Superman, it's like Clark Kent is fun to be. Superman is more of a job, but it's not like he doesn't like being Superman.
Sure.
And then you get things like Batman, where it's like Batman is, at least in most versions that we're familiar with, Batman's who he is, and Bruce Wayne is a mask of convenience that allows him to do the things that Batman maybe is less equipped for. Whereas in this case, it's like Matt does not want to be Daredevil. You can tell by how he dresses it up as the exact antithesis of everything he knows he should be. And I think that's the thing, the tension at the heart of his character is that there are multiple things he thinks he should do. Because it's like, okay, you should follow the law. You shouldn't beat people up in dark alleys. But at the same time, if you can't solve the problem any other way, but the problem has to be solved because you uniquely situated to be aware of all the evils of the world, but not gifted the power to effortlessly deal with them, what else can you do but grind yourself down, trying to solve them any way you can, even if it means breaking all these rules of what you have been told makes you good? And I think that's cool.
Yeah.
I think that's interesting. He doesn't want to be Daredevil, but he truly believes that it is his moral obligation.
In the beginning, yes, and
Yes.
we get to see a little bit of that line get blurred, because in seasons 2 and 3, we get a little bit of the like, okay, being Daredevil means that I can do things that help people, but also I do kind of like punching people who I think deserve it.
Yeah, sorry,
and
to
that
be clear.
becomes the problem, where Matt doesn't feel good about what he's doing, but there is a part of him where, like, let the devil out is the whole thing of, like, when Mad Jack Murdock gets his enemy in the corner of the boxing ring, he lets the devil out. Matt does derive a sick satisfaction from just wailing on someone if he feels like they deserve it. and that becomes something he has to deal with later.
Yeah, to be clear, what I just said is the entire core tension of the show. So it goes through some changes as Matt evolves.
Absolutely. And speaking of this kind of like constant difficulty of Matt being ripped apart in various directions, we can view this as the Murdoli trinity of Matt's character. If you're Catholic, you know exactly what graph this is. If you're not, I'm going to show you around. This is a trinity graph basically showing that God is the Father, God is the Son, God is the Holy Spirit. The Father is not the Son, the Father is not the Holy Spirit, the Son is not the Holy Spirit, but all of those point to the center of God. So Matt Murdock is the lawyer, he is the Catholic, he is the devil of Hell's Kitchen, but those three nodes are not each other. The lawyer and the devil are especially not. The Catholic and the devil, they have a little bit of a fuzzier relationship, but the visual of the Trinity graph was too funny to pass up.
Hey, I'll take your word for it. I do think it's very interesting because in the same way that, hate and love are opposites in a way that they kind of reinforce each other and can almost blur, it's like, Matt would not be dressing up like a devil if he was not so very Catholic. They're inextricable from one another.
Yeah.
It is kind of a, no, I'm denying this part of myself in order to do this other part of myself.
Yeah. You can basically look at every one of these nodes in the triangle having disparaging things to say about the other two. Whether it's like, oh, you're not doing real justice, you're just going around and punching people, and that's a corruption of the law, whereas the devil says, yeah, but the law is corrupt and it never works for people. I'm actually out here doing the real work to make it happen. The lawyer being like, hey, God, why are you letting these awful things happen to people who don't deserve it and then making it my problem to fix it? Mm-hmm. The Catholic being like, hey, enacting rage-fueled violence is not very Christ-like. And the devil being like, yeah, cosplaying the devil is definitely a sin, so I do feel bad about that. The Catholic doesn't have a problem with the lawyer, and I think that's the only halfway amicable node in this entire chart. But even still, if I dug, I could probably find one. No part of this arrangement is happy with the other two, and that makes for a fabulously messy character to play with in the form of Matt Murdock.
Not to be contrarian.
No, please.
I do think it's kind of funny how, if the whole, the Catholic rage-fueled violence, rather unchristlike, and then it's like, oh, well, he did flip those tables and braid that whip so he could absolutely unload on some other fuckers, and
it took 40 minutes to braid that whip.
And not to play the actual historical events card, but Catholicism as an institution has been responsible for some of the bloodiest wars in human history.
Oh, undoubtedly.
The idea, okay, so maybe they weren't angry about doing it, but untold quantities of violence have happily occurred with a big old crucifix stamp of approval on them for centuries, if not millennia.
No, absolutely. It specifically, the concept of just war was basically an invention by the Romans when it's like, okay, we like this Christianity thing, but if we actually turn the other cheek all the time, we as a society will be destroyed because we have endless enemies and always have since the beginning of us being Rome and doing anything. So we kind of need to find a way to morally justify violence on a military scale. Okay, so if we're attacked first, then we can do whatever we want. As long as we're not doing it with hate in our hearts, we can kill people. And there's a whole, series of philosophers and theologians, St. Augustine is in there, of, justifying violence in the context of, if we don't do this, we're gonna get steamrolled.
Right.
But, so there is a lot of tension there as well in, yeah, we're supposed to not like violence, but we do still kind of do it all the time. That tension is also historical, and it is just as hypocritical back then as it is now in the case of poor Matt Murdock. I
gotta say, the loophole of it's not a sin if I don't enjoy killing them is an interesting choice.
Yes, it is. Take it up with St. Augustine.
Yeah.
Yes, it is.
It's not the outcome that matters. It's how I was feeling when I did it, so,
It is more complicated than that, but it is pretty close to yeah.
I love understanding things.
Yeah, so, no, you're right. It's a little fierce. It's a little rough. And that that contradiction, that hypocrisy is, for better or worse, it's baked in. It's kind of baked in. But either way, Matt feels bad about it because Matt is a good Catholic, which means he has guilt about everything. So the fundamental construction of Daredevil's identity is already a lot more complex than superheroes are usually portrayed as. You have, like Spider-Man is a high schooler, and then also he is Spider-Man, and those two things don't necessarily interact. Spider-Man has a bad time because he's got a lot of stuff going on, and his plate is always very full, but there is no part of the identity of Peter Parker or Spider-Man that has the same kind of I hate that I am this other thing half the time. He resents that it puts a lot more stuff on his plate, but it's not as juicy as Matt the lawyer being I hate that I have to do this vigilante stuff.
Yeah.
And Matt the vigilante being I hate that I have to rely on the law when it's just so corrupt and
exploitable,
pliable.
Yeah.
It's Spider-Man is a great character. He's my second favorite of the Marvel ones, and he is much better at this than even most characters. But the point I'm trying to make is that the construction of Daredevil's identity has so many moving parts that pull on each other in a very tense balance, in a way that most superheroes have one thing going on, and then their secret identity is okay, yeah, and then he does this during the day, but it doesn't really come up all that often.
I think just to play Daredevil's advocate just a little bit, I think that Spider-Man has one point of tension, which is there are a number of problems in his civilian identity that he could solve if he could just tell people he was Spider-Man. Oh, why was I late with my assignment? Sorry. We were fighting Galactus this week. I couldn't do a whole lot, but I had to show up and get my card punched, that kind of thing. Oh, MJ doesn't, understand why I dipped out on our date, or Aunt May doesn't understand why I keep breaking curfew and I keep getting in trouble, and it's all these problems that could be solved if he could just tell them he was Spider-Man, but the cardinal rule is he can't, because if he does, they will be in tremendous danger forever.
Even though they're already in tremendous danger all the time anyway.
It would be worse. It would be worse and more bad.
It would be worse.
But
yes.
there is that fundamental tension where he ends up sort of resenting different parts of himself, where it's if he could just be all Spider-Man and not have to worry about Peter Parker's bullshit, he'd be fine. And if he could just be all Peter Parker and not have to worry about Spider-Man's bullshit, as we've seen in Spider-Man 2, he has a great goddamn time when he doesn't have to be Spider-Man. It's great. He can just do normal Peter Parker shit and get his homework in on time.
Yeah, he has 1 week where everything is awesome.
Yeah, and then the great power and great responsibility steamroll him again. So there is, some conversation going on. I do think that Matt has a very pure, crystallized version of this, in that truly he doesn't even have fun being Daredevil. It's all downsides. It's
yes, it's all downsides.
It's oh, hey, by the way, because of my heightened senses, everything feels like shit all the time. And also I can hear everyone doing crimes for the entire city, 15 city blocks in every direction. I can hear every bad thing happening in New York City. And every time I punch somebody, I feel it 10 times worse than you do. And it's just wow, truly having the worst time of it. It's probably no accident that there's a lot of saint, martyr imagery in
yes.
the way that these posters truss him up, Saint
Yeah,
Sebastian
all
style.
Of these posters from the second season especially, they really leaned into the historical art allegories. So this one here is the Last Judgment in the Sistine Chapel. It's slightly done differently. This one here is Saint Sebastian.
That's
say.
Classic Saint Sebastian. They're always doing shit to that guy.
The fact that Daredevil is having a bad time in a thematically resonant way, whereas there are a lot of other characters who have pretty bad times. I feel like maybe Moon Knight could take a swing at that crown of just having an awful time all the time.
Hey, no, some of Moon Knight's alters have a pretty nice time most of the time.
Okay.
By the finale, they're self-actualized. They're having fun with it. They're doing costume quick changes. They have a girlfriend who's kind of their ex-wife. Honestly, everything kind of comes up Moon Knight after a little while. It takes a good goddamn time to get there, though.
Okay, making my argument for me then. The point being that Daredevil has the most sad and the most themes, and those are proportional to each other and how they present in the story. And with 3 seasons in the Netflix show and 2 more in Born Again, I think a 3rd is on the way, there is so much space to dig into this, and Daredevil, as the Marvel hero with the most screen time of any Marvel character, because he's got more than anyone in the movies.
Oh, yeah.
Got 13 hours of episodes 5 times at this point, plus Defenders, plus, a couple other appearances.
Right,
Daredevil has the most space to explore his character, and by God, do they use it. We've talked a little bit about this contrast. Let's dig into specifically the idea of the no killing, which a lot of superheroes have. And the show is, as we mentioned, loaded with Matt feeling bad about himself for what he does and what he does to other people. And he makes it his friend's problem, mostly. But what stops this from being just obnoxiously tedious to sit through, like it can often be? The first is good characterization, and that is it, because it's just good characterization. That is it. That is the only difference between this and when the examples are just boring and dull and bad and monotonous. Because the no-killing debate is intrinsically moralistic and patronizing, since we are taking media for children, where, yeah, you don't kill people because we're making comics for 8-year-olds and trying to put that into a show with just bucket loads of gore and awful things happening to people's eyeballs. It goes clang because it feels like, why are we arguing this? Clearly everyone's dying left and right anyway.
Yeah.
What the hell are we doing?
I think, sometimes it's a weird place for them to draw the line, especially in, especially in stories where it's like, all these interchangeable minions our hero can feed headfirst into a wood chipper. But the guy who's actually caused all the problems is too fun, and maybe we want to bring him back in a future season, so our hero's going to be like, no, if I kill you, I'll be just as bad. And it's like, what? What about the 10 million goblin soldiers that you just mowed down to get here? Did they not count? And the answer is frequently, no, they didn't count. What are you talking about? But I do think that Matt is one of those superheroes that has kind of a uniquely solid reason. Because, of course, with most superheroes, the reason's like, oh, why don't you kill people? It's like, what the why would I kill people? Killing people is a huge leap. Like, why would I ever do that? That's not my fucking job. That's not my decision. It's like, oh, why doesn't Batman kill the Joker? Why would Batman be responsible for executing people in the city of Gotham? Why are we saying that should be his job? We have a court system for this. He puts the Joker in jail, and then what you guys do with him is your responsibility. It's not that hard. It's like, oh, why doesn't Superman kill people? And it's like, well, there's a lot of different arguments on that. And some of them, it's like, if he started just killing people who were inconvenient for him to let be alive, then he would continue doing that forever. And Batman kind of has the same thing. It's like, once you add that to your toolkit of problem solving, it becomes very easy to see people as problems to solve. Matt, you slammed into the brick wall of Catholicism. All life is sacred. I refuse to take it. That makes sense. That's fine. That's solid. His reasoning is not, it'll make me feel bad. It's on a moral and rules of the universe level. I believe this is the most fundamentally wrong thing I could ever do. And even as I'm
Except for just war theory, but we already talked about that.
Listen, it's clear that, Matt is clearly not like a fucking Crusades apologist.
No, exactly.
Matt is a good Catholic boy. He really believes this stuff. He's clearly actually read the book. He actually has internalized this rule set for, like, how do you exist as a moral being in this paradigm? How do you live the best life you can and do the most good and prevent the most harm? And he's come out, the other side of that equation with, like, unfortunately, the way I prevent the most harm is I damage the sanctity of my own soul by hurting people in ways I know are wrong. But there is a line that he's like, no, I can't cross that one. All life is sacred. That is the entire point. And also, there's the other brick wall it slams into, which is the lawyer. Because when it is tempting for him to kill somebody, there's fortunately blind lawyer Matt Murdock saying, that's what the justice system is for. If we start executing people, we will be denying everything we believe in this place of the law. Have I jumped ahead another 17 slides?
Yes, but that's okay. We'll get there. You're connecting the dots.
Good, yes, I love it when my brain works. But yeah, I think that Matt has essentially 2 really good reasons to not really even spend that much time waffling about, like, should I kill this guy or not? Because most of the time, he does not actually confront that question unless absolutely forced to, because he's like, no, I will beat this person up, put the fear of God in them, throw them in to the mercy of the courts, and then I will make sure they go to prison through my identity as an actual lawyer. It's the perfect crime.
He confronts it with Fisk. That's a huge thing in the back half of season 1 where he's like, oh, this guy is, especially when he kills Elena Cardenas, who's one of the people in their like apartment building who's like, just her life is ruined by Fisk and she ends up being killed. Matt's like, oh no, I need to end this and I need to kill this guy.
Yeah.
And he goes to Vanessa's art gallery to basically like find excuses to kill him, and then eventually he's like, no.
Yeah.
So he struggles with it there where it's like, oh, it would be so much more expedient because I can stop this suffering if I kill him. And then he's like, no, fuck me, I can't do it.
Yeah, there's a scales of justice thing going on, basically because on the one hand, like, Fisk is such an absolute monolith of power that allows him to bypass all of the checks and balances that the legal system is supposed to impose on him. Like, Fisk's one thing is that just by finding the right people and threatening them, he can walk out of any situation because too many people don't want their wives and daughters and children and husbands murdered for some fucking reason. And like, on paper, it feels like it's so simple that it shouldn't be allowed, but at the same time, you know, what are you going to do? And like, that's part of the frustration. Part of why we're so in Matt's head in this show is how much of what Fisk does trips that little button in our heads that says, that's not fair. Why can he do that? Why can't anyone stop him? And so, of course, Matt's like, okay, on one hand, I have try and use the legal system to stop him, which he has shown himself to be expert at walking out of. And on the other hand, I could simply kill him. And basically, it's like, which of these two problems is more important? Which of these two paradigms do you believe in more? Do you believe in removing one bad person, or do you believe in shoring up a system of justice that theoretically, if you can make it work, prevents all these bad people from ever getting in the position to do this again? And because ultimately he's a good Catholic and he's a good lawyer, and he has to come down on good lawyer side when it comes to this of like, no, I have to do my part in the legal system to get this done right. And unfortunately, he's running against the endless treadmill of fake progress that comes with a serialized superhero medium where Kingpin is his most iconic foe, because he can do everything he needs to. He can do everything right. In the same way that like Joker has immunity to anything that'll take him out of the story forever. Like, oh, Joker's dead. Just kidding. He's back because he's fun. Kingpin is in jail. Just kidding. He's out because it turns out, hey, did you know that all these people who put him in jail have loved ones, and he just magically knows who all of them are and can magically have them all killed or threatened whenever he wants to, and that means he can do whatever he wants. And it's just, there's an element where it almost strains my patience at points in the show. I think it is in season 3, and we're going to talk much about season 3, but I think there's a point where it's like, yes, the grand jury has been assembled. He's gonna go to jail. And then they're like, the grand jury has magically been compromised because they magically got all of their loved ones and they're threatening all of them magically, and now Fisk is a free man. And I was like, I knew when I was watching this that there was no way this was going to end without Daredevil punching Fisk a lot. I knew that, but I'm still fucking mad because at this point, why is he even defending this legal system?
Yeah, that becomes a little bit of my problem with season 3 is the very end is like, oh, they just kind of like magically find a thing to pin on Vanessa, and then Fisk is like, okay, I surrender, fine. It's like, no, yeah.
Season 3, best season of the show, but it also has some of the more glaring, like, we've been at this for so long that it's like, why did this work when it didn't work before? And it's like, the author said that the show's over now. That's why.
Yeah. Essentially, to bring this back to the reason that it works here and it doesn't work in other places is that in almost every other superhero media that has to wrangle with this, it's like, hey, you gonna kill that guy? No. You sure? It would be cool. I know you want to. And it's like, yeah, still won't though. And it's like, okay, that's the end of it. It is intrinsically a Chekhov's gun that you cannot fire.
Yeah.
You have to dangle this carrot in front of your hero, and they, by the rules of narrative, they cannot take it. It is just a big thing that doesn't happen. Yeah. That is narratively, intrinsically unsatisfying, where it's like, on the one hand, you do the thing that your character is obviously not allowed to do by the story, because then you have all these problems. On the other hand, you don't do anything, so you simply sit there feeling bad about it and nothing happens. And that's what bugs me about it in most instances is, and then nothing happens.
Yeah.
So like with your Supermans, you can get an episode or two of a show of like, oh, but then if I, being so strong, decide to do it, then what stops me? And Batman's like, I've got some kryptonite in the vault.
I'll stop
Batman
you, actually.
is like, oh, the conversation of not killing is a reference specifically back to his origin story, and it kind of reinforces the fundamental trauma of who he is, and that's why it works a little better in Batman's case, but people tend to belabor it way too much, and then it becomes obnoxious. Where, like, you can have that conversation with Batman, and it feels like, yeah, no, this is a thing that he would struggle with. He's dealt with death so much in his life. I'm sure he's had the thought of, oh, wouldn't it be easier? But, like, you can deal with that for an episode or two, and then it's like, okay, shut up. You've gone through all the arguments. Get back to punching people. Like, you're not going anywhere with this. You're just sitting there doing nothing. With Daredevil, since you have this characterization space between the lawyer and the vigilante, where there's this constant tension, you actually have more narrative things to do with it, because Matt's life is a mess. He has kill anxiety and he has law anxiety, and these things are balanced. So they are always, okay, yes, one can do what the other can't. Matt the lawyer can do what Daredevil can't. Daredevil can go break warrants and conjure evidence in a way that Matt the lawyer cannot do. It's sure, that is, it's good for investigation, it's good for sussing out the conspiracy, but it has this moral quality where he's not just being pulled towards one thing and not doing it, he's being pulled into opposite directions. And that's the key difference between this and the typical, oh, kill, don't kill debate, is he's getting it from both sides, which means there's a space and a spectrum of things you can do with him in the narrative that are much more interesting. And it leads to the question of which one of these is the quote-unquote easy way.
I think that what's interesting is that as a lawyer, Matt is intimately aware of the weaknesses and failings of the legal system. But also as a lawyer, he wants to do his part to try and make the law actually what it should be. This, this thing that's capable of protecting people. And that's why him and Foggy are flat broke, working pro bono, helping the people who can't afford lawyers but desperately need them. Like, he's like, the legal system is not perfect. I know this intimately. Like, everyone I know who is a lawyer is like, dude, the legal system, it's a set of tools and we do the best we fucking can with them, but it is not a rigid system that works. From that standpoint, the vigilantism is the easy way, especially because Matt has, his one superpower is knowing all the shit that's going on. Matt's like one thing, can't be surprised, knows kind of everything in this limited space. So for him, the easy way is like, okay, I know we would need a warrant, but I can just slip in through the roof and get the information, and then I'll know it, and then I can act on it, and I won't need to wait for these slow gears of justice to eventually deign to turn, if they ever do. Like, it's this frustration where he truly cannot at any point make an entirely good decision. Because if he's like, okay, I will be a good lawyer boy and do lawyer things, he has to be aware of all of the ways it's failing people. And if he goes full Daredevil, full vigilante, just says, screw the law, I will do what I think I need to do, he's like, well, now I'm making myself judge, jury, and executioner and putting my will above all these other people and if I do start, actually killing people, then I'm committing like the worst cardinal mortal sin imaginable by declaring that I have the right to determine who lives and who dies. There are no good options for him. He can't even live peacefully ignorant because his superpower is you don't get the privilege of ignorance. You always know what's going on. So he has no good options, and it's only by walking the tightrope in between these 2 points that he can try to approximate doing the right thing minute to minute. And nobody understands it, not even him, and it's so good.
Yes. So we're dealing with stacked layers of choices. It's not just, oh, does he go out and be the vigilante? If it's, okay, now that he's out there, how will he do this? What lines will he cross or not cross? So he's pulled in multiple different ways. And we can, at the risk of running a play-by-play of the whole show, everyone thinks Matt is doing it wrong, including him. This is not a surprise. We have so many people who have various thoughts on what Matt does and why he is inevitably wrong. Father Lentum, his priest, says when he's talking about going to kill Fisk, are you struggling with the fact that you don't want to kill this man but have to, or that you have to kill him
don't have
want
to kill him, but
Those are two different things. It's good writing, good drama. One random criminal says, oh, so you're just going to stand there and let me die, huh? But you couldn't kill me yourself. Is that where you draw the line? What ends up happening is Matt actually does save him from what's about to happen to him afterwards. A different criminal says, you should have just killed me, you coward. Elektra in season 2 says, when you don't get what you want by day, you take it by force at night, framing it as Matt will be good up until it is inconvenient for him, and then he does what he would have really wanted to do in the first place anyway. And in a scene where he's having an argument with his ghost dad, he says, you put on that mask because it lets you feel all right with who you really are. It lets you hurt people and make it feel like it's for something important, something good, maybe even for God, but that ain't the truth, and we both know it. So everyone thinks Matt is doing it wrong. And this is great. This means we get so many different perspectives on Matt, and everyone gets to have an angle and an entry point into this fundamental character problem at the heart of the show. And everyone can be made more interesting and thematically resonant by their opinions on Matt and how they variously challenge him. And then most acutely, we see this on the two sides of him, the two different wolves in his friend group, both of whom think he's a moron. Both people think he is cutting corners and doing it the easy way instead of the right way. Foggy says, Matt, you took enough to hold the law. This is irresponsible. What are you doing? Frank says, Red, you whining pansy, just shoot these people. Oh my God, it's so easy. Just shut up. Stop being a dick. Stop being so pretentious and upright about yourself. Just kill these people who are being bad. And then everything will simply be better.
It's so interesting. I feel like of these two characters, like, Foggy is in this position where you really get the impression that, like, after Foggy does his best, he's like, well, I did my best, and I just kind of have to live with it day by day. Like, he can actually switch off the guilt part of his brain and be like, yes, I've put in the work, I've put in the effort, I've done my level best, I'm doing everything I can, and, that's all any of us can really ask ourselves to do. And then on the other side, you've got, like, Frank Castle, Earth's second most tortured human, basically being like, if I had simply been able to murder everybody who was a problem at this key moment in my life, I wouldn't have lost everything. So all of my problems in the future should be resolved by murdering people as fast and efficient as possible so that they don't have time to do the things that I can never move past. So essentially we have, like, Foggy, pretty good at forgiving himself for his perceived inadequacies, and Frank, who will never, ever, ever forgive himself for anything like that, but not in a sort of Matt tense, self-flagellating way, because with Matt, it's like, it's a constant struggle, it's a constant fight. He's always fixating on these things that he's done that are wrong, but it's more like, it's not like this is my greatest failure, it's like I am continuously failing to be a perfect, moral, upright soul. Whereas with Frank, it's like, no, I know exactly where things went wrong, and I know exactly how to make sure it never happens again. And once you understand that, then we can actually get some real work done.
Frank has perfect clarity, and that's what makes him so dangerous. So we can look at this in the context of two scenes in seasons 1 and season 2. Even though season 2 is the worst one of the bunch, it has one of the most relevant conversations for the thesis, because Frank, the Punisher, and Daredevil are just such a beautiful pairing together. They're so fucking married. Oh my God, they're so married. And I can't wait to see them in Born Again season 2.
Listen, the parts of season 2 that are bad are not the parts that have the Punisher in them.
Yes,
the fact that season 2 is only as bad as it is because the Punisher is fucking holding up the writing quality like Atlas with the sky.
Yeah. It really does go down so far when Elektra shows up, because then all the law goes out the window. It's just like, well, Matt gets told what to do and he does it. Okay, that's a bad story.
I always have a special pet peeve for when a character's like, my love interest is in town, and that means my brain has taken a vacation, and I am just gonna do love interest things. And with Elektra's case, her love interest stuff is like, you want to fight a bunch of ninjas with me? And it's like, can we please get back to reality? Like, any minute now. Any day would be nice.
But looking at these two conversations, the first one, iconic, season 1, episode 10, Nelson v. Murdock.
Yes.
When Foggy finds out from finding Matt half dead.
Yep, classic.
Oh, you're the devil of Hell's Kitchen. Huh. And the conversation plays out over the course of the episode, intercut with flashbacks to their youth and them meeting each other and, going through law school together and, like having these big, bold ideas about, helping people through the justice system. Oh, won't it be great? We're going to be so moral and upright and never compromise our values. And the conversation starts from Foggy in a state of very intense shock, saying like, oh, well, what the hell do I know about Matt Murdock? Answer me this, Matt. Are you even blind? And Matt is like, yes, I am. I know it doesn't seem that way. And Foggy's like, yeah, it really fucking doesn't, man. How many fingers am I holding up? And he has the middle finger in his face, and Matt's like, 1. Because Matt knows. He knows what Foggy's holding up.
He can sense it,
So it starts in this place of profound betrayal and mistrust. And they're going through all of these things about like, oh, Matt, you listen to people's heartbeats, that you need warrants for that. That's such a breach of the way the system is supposed to work. They eventually get into the arguments of morality of this and how Matt is subverting the justice system morally and ethically by going out and doing what he's doing as Daredevil. And this vigilantism is so bad. You know, we took an oath to be lawyers and help people, and you're hurting people. What is this? And then in the end, they get back to this core of like the betrayal of Foggy saying, like, imagine if you get arrested or killed. Do you really think any jury is going to believe I didn't know about this? That Karen didn't know about this? You're putting us in so much danger. Matt, I wouldn't have kept this from you if it was me, not from you. So it starts at this place of betrayal and pure broken trust, goes through the logic of everything, and returns to a place of pure emotion. Very similar thing happens in the conversation with Punisher, where they don't know each other at the start, so it's a different setup, and they are intrinsically antagonistic. Punisher has him chained up on a roof, shenanigans, conversation ensues. Matt is trying to get a sense of who Punisher is, so he asks all these like snippy, probing questions, trying to figure out like, oh yeah, something bad happened to you, and then you decided it'd be so much easier if you killed people. I bet you think you're so smart and so tough. And they like trading pot shots back and forth, nominally asking questions, but both of them have already completely made up their mind about the other one. It's actually very funny to see how catty they are. It gets to a point of talking about the effectiveness of the methods where Frank says, oh, you just punch people and they get out, a month, a week, a day later, and they go kill again, rape again. Oh, you're not saving anyone. You're just, doing a little dance and making yourself feel better, and then it all keeps happening again anyways. And what they get to is this idea that Matt posits of like, it's not that I'm letting them out so they can kill again, it's so that they can try again, to try and be better, because everyone has this light in them, everyone has this good, even you, Frank, even though you're such an ass, such a douchebag, everyone has this light. And Matt, like you said, Red, earlier, Matt thinks that all life has this intrinsic value, and Frank fundamentally does not. If he thinks you are more bad than good, you flip all the way to being all bad, and you are worth him killing. And that's his perfect clarity that we talked about that makes him so dangerous.
Yeah.
And both of them basically say, you will have to kill me to stop me. Daredevil says, Frank, you're gonna have to kill me because I'm gonna keep trying to come stop you. And Punisher basically says, if you want me to stop killing people, you're gonna have to be the big man and kill me. So they both come to the same argument of, you're wrong, you're gonna have to kill me if you want me to stop trying to stop you. And eventually they start shouting over each other. It devolves again. They're just so angry. They're such catty little but eventually Frank gets mad and just punches Matt unconscious. So once again, we have a situation where it starts from pure emotion. They're mad at each other, they're judging each other, they think, oh, you think you have this big morality, you're just a fake, you're just doing what's convenient for you. They work through the logic, and then it comes back to, hey, fuck you, Matt, yeah, fuck you, Frank, and then they punch each other, or Frank punches Matt, and that's the end of the scene. Both of them have an emotional start, logical build through, but return to this emotion. It is initially a raw emotion from a low mutual understanding. Foggy doesn't know what Matt's deal is. Matt and Frank don't know what each other's deal is. There's a logical argument that ensues about methods and morality and all this highfalutin kind of stuff that raises understanding, and the emotions lower as they get more into the details. It becomes a little less personal, but once they achieve full understanding, they go right back to those initial high emotions, justified by their new understanding of the other person. It's such a beautiful scene that plays out the exact same way from different angles with each of those characters.
Interesting.
It's such good writing.
I mean, listen, Nelson v. Murdock is one of my favorite episodes of the show, and I love that the benefit of Daredevil is that it can be slow and character-driven. Like you said, we have so many more hours of time spent with this superhero than with anything else in the greater MCU. And I think that frequently the non-superhero characters get sort of treated as like ancillary, sort of accessories, useful people to damsel to get them in trouble so that the superhero has a reason to act. And in this case, they're like, nope, Foggy and Matt are partners. What I really like about that episode is that it isn't just an emotional argument, and honestly, neither of them really comes out entirely winning, but Foggy does make the one point point that Matt... Yeah, they both lose. But Foggy does make the one point that Matt can't counter, which is, even if you were doing all this work to keep it secret, no jury would believe that we didn't know. And therefore, any consequences that fall on your head will also fall on me, no matter what you try to do or how much you try to do the right thing. And I think that's kind of such a cutting thing, because it's like, hey, you can do the best you can, and you will still bring harm down upon the people who you care about. Because that's like the nightmare scenario for Matt. He's doing everything he can. Like, what's also interesting about Matt and Frank when they're arguing with each other is they're both trying for harm reduction. Like, Matt's thing is basically like, my entire job is trying to get people who are doing terrible things to no longer be able to do that, whether that's because they're in jail or in the fucking hospital. Either way. But he's like, I don't kill anybody because everyone needs to be given the chance to make their lives better. Everyone has the ability to be better. The whole reason he acts the way he does is because he believes that once somebody is stopped from doing harm, they can choose to do good. Whereas with Frank, like, Matt's got this moral stand, but Frank almost has an ethical stance, which is like, on a social level, it does more good to remove the people doing harm permanently than it does to go through the slow, painful process of maybe letting them be better, more contributing members of society or whatever. So, like, this is a little bit top of mind because I recently read through a little comic miniseries called The Power Fantasy, and it has this huge undercurrent of morals versus ethics. Two of the primary characters, one of them is an actual angel who is just trying to preserve life. She showed up because the atomic age started, and she was like, I'm here to make sure you guys don't all kill each other with nukes. And then the other, her friend, is this Professor X and beyond level telepath who does just kill people that he recognizes would be more dangerous alive. He's got enough insight into these people to just reach into their heads and switch them off, or like switch off the superpowers of anybody who could potentially destabilize the world. And spoiler alert, after he's killed, the world ends 2 issues later. He was truly keeping so many plates spinning, and nobody liked him. Nobody liked what he was doing. Everyone thought he was creepy and freaking them out and making decisions and treating the world like a bunch of pawns on a board. But he was the only one that kept the world together because he was making these top-down ethical choices that mostly involved killing a very small number of people so the vast majority of people would stay alive. And obviously, Frank is not putting that much thought into this. Frank is a very emotional being. He doesn't think he is, but he's motivated by this furnace of pure boiling guilt and rage and shame, much the same way that Matt is, although with Frank it's sort of been like laser focused to a very precise point. But because he and Matt are so similar but handling things so differently, I think it's almost inevitable that as soon as they had their first real conversation, it was going to explode, because they were too close to it. They were too similar with too many fundamental irreconcilable differences, where Matt believes that people deserve to be alive, and Frank doesn't believe anybody deserves to be alive.
Yeah, no, for sure. And you get to the idea of, like, none of these boys are paragons of sound logic. They all think they're being so rational that they have it figured out, but all of them are very tangled up in their emotions about this. And that is, despite how much they're trying, anger, sadness, betrayal, judgment, all of that will overcome the logic they are trying to stand on. Matt and Foggy as lawyers, Punisher on his, like, galaxy-brained, I figured it out campaign. I'll simply kill all the bad people and everything will be okay.
Yeah.
It's a very emotional, tangled mess. But from this kaleidoscope of quarrels, we can make a kind of continuum, a big x-axis here, with Foggy on one side saying, I use the law the right way. Matt, as lawyer, saying, I use the law until Daredevil saying, I fight crime, I hurt people, but I don't kill. And then Frank saying, I kill all day and it's great. It's actually super cool and based. Way more fun than you think it's going to be. And then you start and you just can't stop. So we have a continuum of space where Matt is being pulled between, Matt Murdock, the lawyer, and the devil. But then further on the outside of that, he's being pulled even further by Foggy and by Punisher, so it's a really nice construction. It takes 2 seasons to build it up, but once we get it laid out, it's like, oh, this is why this characterization space feels so rich, because there's so much movement and pulling going on. None of these characters are static. They're all being pulled by proximity to the next person in the chain.
Yeah.
Matt, the lawyer, being caught between Foggy and Daredevil, Daredevil being caught between Matt, the lawyer, and Punisher. Oh, it's so nice. It's such fucking good writing. But it is really not about what works or what's best. We've seen that this is about how things feel. They are emotional boys.
Yep.
And in Matt's case, Catholic boy simply feels bad.
Yeah, he's in a situation where there is nothing he can do that will make him feel entirely content. Because, like we've said, like his power set is sort of this uniquely unpleasant affair that denies him the privilege of ignorance that pretty much everyone else has, where it's like, hey, look, if I don't know something terrible is going on, I can't be expected to do anything about it. And he's like, I know every terrible thing that's going on in intimate detail, and it fucking sucks, because I don't have the power to do what needs to be done to stop it. I can only try. And he does not have that little thing in his head where it's like, I tried my hardest and I can be content with that. Because it's like, no, it's very all or nothing. He has to be perfect, and that's probably tied in a little bit with the Catholicism. He doesn't seem particularly hung up on like, oh no, I committed a sin, I'm doomed. Like he doesn't have that sort of like moral OCD built in, but he does have this like, no, I could always be better, which means I'm not good enough. Which is, I mean, a big mood. Listen, as an artist, I feel that so much. But in his specific case, lives are on the line. It's like. And probably on the lawyer side of things, it's also like if we were just better at using the law, then these people wouldn't be able to slip through the cracks and exploit the system. Like, and that's part of why, like in season 3, it's like, no, we did everything right, and Fisk still managed to win, and that's bullshit. So now I get to go and punch him in the season finale. There's no universe where Matt comes out of this actually happy, because in the pursuit of this, in the pursuit of like justice or vengeance or, you know, whatever it is that he's chasing, he still can't be happy. The only times we see him happy are when he can actually kind of switch off and just hang out with Foggy and Karen, which is why the season 3 finale is like the old. That's why I refuse to watch any more Daredevil. I know Born Again is happening. I know it's probably fine. Nope, for me, it ended with season 3 when they're actually fucking happy for the first goddamn time. I'm letting them stay in that bar forever, and I don't give a shit what happens next.
The first, 3 minutes of Born Again basically shows status quo from the end of season 3, but a few years later, and it's like, oh, it's sweet.
And then nothing else happened from that point forward.
Foggy goes outside to take a phone call, just turn off the channel, turn off the TV. It
was nice of them to make a 3-minute short film of where are they now? Having fun.
Yeah.
Bye.
Yeah, exactly. So, speaking of Catholic boy feeling bad, who holds the scales in all of this?
Ooh.
Matt is, as we have discussed, both within the law and outside of it, but as we have also discussed, he never is the one making that judgment. As a vigilante, he doesn't kill, he instead leaves a final say to the legal system, after kind of delivering them in a basket on the steps of the courthouse. Criminal for you. And as a lawyer, he cannot mete out his own punishment. That is for the judge and the jury. So despite the fact that Foggy says, oh yeah, Matt, you weren't content with playing judge and jury, you have to go play executioner too, Matt actually does not play judge, jury, or executioner. He actually leaves all 3 of those things to the outside forces beyond himself.
Yeah. There's a level of misanthropy that's required in order to actually be a proper solo vigilante like Frank, because you need to truly not believe in anyone else or in the collective goodness of humanity. Like, there is a level to which Matt at all times is aware of the goodness of humanity. He genuinely does believe in it. Like, if nothing else, just through Foggy, but also, like, you know, other people. He cares deeply about a lot of people, which is why it sucks so bad when Fisk starts just, you know, killing people. It's kind of subtle. It's not much attention is drawn to it, but part of Matt's belief in the legal system is his belief in humanity. Like, the legal system doesn't work if you cannot rely on the judge and the jury to make the best choice given the information provided. As a lawyer, it's essentially his job to tell them the story of what happened and suggest the conclusion he wants them to come to, but he does not make that decision for them. And it is important that at no point does Matt override anyone else's free will, essentially. Like, basically, if it's like, okay, this person is committing something absolutely heinous against another person, I'm gonna beat the shit out of them until they stop, and then I'm gonna turn them over to the court system to make sure they stay stopped. But at that point, he's letting it be out of his hands. And that's probably part of why he's so miserable all the time. Is like, you cannot be a moral perfectionist and trust other people to carry out final judgment on things you've staked your morality on. But he does ultimately choose to believe in the goodness and free will of humanity, which is also why he doesn't kill. To kill somebody is to say, I do not believe you will ever improve. I do not believe you will ever stop being a problem. And the thing is with Frank, it's all very like, it's kind of utilitarian. It's like, hey, listen, I don't care if this person could be better. They're not, so I'm going to kill them and I'm going to improve the world immediately like that. But for Matt, believing in the fundamental goodness of people, in the possibility that a justice system can work, because if he didn't believe that people could be good, then he would not believe in the justice system. He wouldn't believe that there would ever be any point in trying. And that's the hard thing, is that he keeps going back to it. He keeps letting the justice system take the reins. And like, as a vigilante, he's constantly walking the line of, I could simply start making the decisions on other people's behalf. But he's the one holding himself back from that and saying, no, in order to remain who I am, in order to continue to be lawyer Matt Murdock, I have to continue to believe that the justice system is not a doomed venture, a hopeless cause. And believing in the fundamental goodness of humanity is not really a thing that gets much airplay in this show. It's a little bit of a Care Bears-y kind of moral for something like this. But it's clearly present throughout the substrate, because Frank is an absolute misanthrope. He likes one person, and it's Karen, and he half likes Matt when Matt isn't talking very much. Like, he probably won't kill them. Obviously, there's people that Frank won't kill, because the entire world in his mind is black and white. It's people like his family, and it's people like the people who killed his family. So there are people who you protect and people who you murder. And it's very simple. It's very easy for him. And Matt's like, there is no way to actually delineate the world like that. There are people who are actively doing harm and must be stopped, and there are people who are not actively doing harm who must be protected. That's it. It's also a binary, but at the same time, you have to allow for the fact that people can transfer from one to the other. And Karen is a huge, important element of that, because in season 1 and 2, they hadn't locked down her backstory, but I think Deborah Ann Woll was like, don't make whatever thing I did in my past be like, oh no, she sacrificed something to save a bus full of nuns or whatever. She was like, no, I want to have done something wrong. I want to have done something fundamentally wrong and unforgivable.
They lock that in late in season 3.
Right. Yeah. Because the thing with Karen is that, like, she is this moral being. She's a good person. She's on the side of the angels. Everyone likes her. Everyone likes having her around. And in her past, there is this terrible, terrible thing. And nothing can be done about it. It's in the past. But she, by her very existence, proves that the black and white dichotomy of people who have done bad things must die can't be true, because then we wouldn't have Karen as she is now. And it's so interesting that she's like one of the characters that Punisher kind of has a soft spot for, because her very existence kind of proves his worldview incorrect. But he's a very in-the-moment kind of guy, so it doesn't even really matter that much to him. So, anyway.
Yeah. If I simply do not see it, then Karen is great and gets to stay.
If Karen has f***ed up in her past, that's fine. Do you know how many people I've killed? It's not even that big of a deal, actually.
Iron Morals Frank finds his morals a little more rubbery than they initially were presented as. Yes. So if it's not Matt who's making this final judgment, who is? It's God. As the Catholic, it is God.
The big man upstairs.
So I wonder who all this guilt is for. What's this about? The posters for season 3 are so Catholic. There's this one with the cross, and then this one with Matt as the cross.
Yeah, of course.
They knew exactly what they were doing in marketing this show, and goddamn do I love it. So the thing that ties this all together, I think, and this is what made me feel like, oh, I need to make this slideshow, is like once I kind of put this together, is that Matt the Catholic back keeps the lawyer and Daredevil accountable. Judgments and vengeance, as they talk about in a conversation with Father Lantom, are, quote, best left to God, so neither the law nor vigilantism ever gets full control over Matt's battles. They kind of bounce between each other, yes, but the puppeteer, Madden almost like a marionette pose here, the puppeteer is the Catholicism, that morality that restrains him from ever doing something so extreme that it makes the final call or it makes a definitive judgment on someone else, whether that's killing or whether that's just like saying, "F the law, I'm not going to bother with it." Father Lantom also in season 2, they're talking about how Matt's doing, not well, and Matt's like, "Father, why do I still feel guilty?" And he says, "Oh, well, maybe it means it's because your work is unfinished, and it is pulling you towards this action that something deep in you needs to take." So this nice little balance here is that Matt's Catholicism restrains him by keeping both the lawyer and the devil in this kind of balance with each other and accountable to that kind of Catholic morality, but it also is what motivates him. It is the thing that is pushing him forward to do this in the first place. As we've talked so much about what drives Matt, what makes him do the things he does, it is the realization that, like, if someone's out there in the world hurting and I'm not doing something to help them, I am culpable. And since I know everything that goes on in this awful neighborhood, I am on the hook to help all of it until I drop dead. Yeah. I have to do something. So the Catholicism is what pushes him forward, but stops him from going too far. It's a really elegant construction, I think.
What's funny is there's a similar concept that isn't innately Catholic. There's a quote from Rabbi Tarfon: "It is not your duty to finish the work, but neither are you at liberty to neglect it." It's kind of a side effect of being alive in a changing, imperfect world, is that you have to do your part to try and make it better, but it's not your job to finish it. And Matt basically comes in season 2 like, "Why do I still have more seasons of television ahead of me?" And it's like, I'm sorry, bud, more shit's happening. There's nothing you can do.
And to your point, this is not like some uniquely Catholic idea, but the wrapping and the flavor on it is unique to Catholicism and how Matt deals with it and processes it.
Oh, absolutely.
What he feels specifically and what his outlets are specifically in, like, the mode of confession and talking to Father Lantom about all this stuff. So there are superheroes who aren't Catholic and are still capable of doing good things. It's not like this is the one thing, but in Matt's case, the reason that he is pushed into heroism is from this root of this deep feeling in him that I have to be helping people, I have to be doing good, or I'm just the worst for not helping people who are in need. And this leads to the ultimate endpoint, is that no one is happy with Matt's choices, especially not him. Every one of Matt's methods are scrutinized, as we've seen earlier, by friends, allies, enemies alike. Be a lawyer, be a vigilante, no killing, yes killing, all the killing, in fact, it's so much fun. Save your enemies, let them die, tell your friends, lie for their safety, exercise restraint, let the devil out, save the innocent, punish the guilty, inspire hope, instill fear. All of these dichotomies are at play in Matt's mind all the time, and he is a character who thrives in the contrast of having to make all of these choices constantly, bouncing between them, not being able to get comfortable in one clean little line of ethics in the way that Frank is, and not having the the self-restraints to be able to say, like Foggy does, I used the law and I did as much as I can. That's all I'm supposed to do. Yep. Matt does not let himself take an easy way out. He is always going to be challenging himself with one side of this little dichotomy or the other, regardless of what issue it is. And right or wrong, whatever choices he makes, his defining character act is to suffer that tension and live in it every day, knowing that that is what makes him a better hero for Hell's Kitchen. So, for Daredevil, the hard call is not a choice, it is a state of mind, and that state is agony.
Yeah, truly, this is 3 seasons of just Matt having every possible variety of terrible day. And that is what makes it fun. And also, that's why I really respect season 3 for actually taking things to, like, a positive close by essentially bringing it home, letting him find balance, and not just balance, like actually letting him connect with the people in his life and get emotional support, because he does not have to be miserable 24/7. He actually doesn't. Even when you're chewing over a problem forever for the rest of your life, like, you're not obligated to suffer about it 24/7. You can occasionally let your brain do other things. And that's why Foggy and Karen are so absolutely vital, and why I have not internalized absolutely anything that happens in Born Again, and that's fine. I love
it's post-snap, it doesn't count.
I love this little river in Egypt I live in right now.
Peak.
Thanks. Yeah, Daredevil is such an interesting character, because I haven't read his tie-in comics. I do understand he's frequently a lot more lighthearted in them. I've seen a lot of those I Am Not Daredevil sweatshirts as like little casual closet cosplays at Comic-Con. This version of him, this one that is so very in his feelings about absolutely everything. There's something extremely compelling about him. And it is kind of funny because I actually recently rewatched the 2003 Ben Affleck Daredevil movie.
Yeah.
Absolutely wretched. Highly recommend for a movie night with friends. It's so goddamn funny. There's 2 Evanescence songs in it. Peak. But it's the kind of self-serious that isn't particularly fun to watch, even though it's ostensibly kind of built on the same foundations, the same character idea of Daredevil wants to be good person, but do bad things to be good person, ? But the way that they do it in the movie is a kid was scared of him one time and he was like, "Hey kid, I'm not the bad guy." And then he's like, "Oh no, why do people think I'm the bad guy?" Just because I let a train cut a guy in half and did nothing to save him. Why would anyone think I'm a jerk? Whereas with this Daredevil,
wild.
Yeah, I can't believe you haven't watched it. It's so funny. But I think that part of what makes this version of Daredevil work is that every kind of argument that we could have about his character, guaranteed he's already had it with himself. He is a good lawyer. And that's part of why Nelson v. Murdock is so good, because it just lets these 2 characters be really good at what they do, which is argue. And it basically puts them at opposite ends of a problem, makes them deeply emotionally invested in each other and each other's well-being, and has them argue through. Everything that Foggy points out, Matt's like, "I've been thinking about this for over a decade. I already have an answer." And Foggy's like, "Okay, well, here's an angle you didn't think of, because I'm not fucking Catholic. I'm not steeped in this weird exceptionalist guilt you have about how you're the only person who's responsible for doing this stuff because you're the one who knows it's happening," or whatever. And what's interesting is we mostly focused on that conversation, but as the season moves on, one of the most emotionally impactful parts of season 1 is where basically Foggy has a moment where he's like, "Oh no, we need Daredevil." The Fisk is too good at evading the law. Someone has to do something. And, well, I happen to know a guy. Because that's the moment where he actually, like you said, it's emotional. It starts emotional, it goes through logical, comes back to emotional. And that's the moment where Foggy kind of the emotion, the anger, the betrayal has drained away enough for him to see where Matt's coming from on oh yeah, I actually absolutely understand the necessity of this, even though I don't like it. And by the end of it, it's the happy ending of season 3 is not no more Daredevil, Matt just gets to be Matt forever. It's balance has been found. He's no longer at this point of unstable equilibrium, of this tension of being pulled in all these directions at once. He's actually finding a way to move through the world consistently where he knows what he's doing and is slightly confident that he's doing the right thing.
Reminds me of why I do personally find season 1 to be my favorite, even though season 3 is made by far the best. The quality of the directing and the writing, oh my god, it's so good. The problem is that the party is split the whole time. Yeah. Karen and Foggy are off in one corner of the city, and Matt is off in a different one, and they barely intersect until the midway point, and they don't actually form up a team until the second to last episode when they decide to solve the problem.
Yeah.
The first season is all the way through, all 3 of them working together, Matt as the lawyer and as Daredevil, going through this whole conspiracy. Season 2 kind of blows because it's 4 episodes of Matt as Daredevil, and then 4 episodes of the lawyer for the trial of Frank Castle, and then Elektra shows up, and it's neither. So we split the party because Matt's too busy dealing with Elektra, and then we don't get to really let the character work in the way he's really supposed to. So even though I like season 3, it doesn't help the thesis of this video too much because it's concerned with other things, which is okay because season 1 already did all of that, but that's why I like season 1 personally more. It's such a good show. I love this character. I know I'm a white, brown-haired boy who loves Spider-Man, but goddamn, I also really like Daredevil.
Yeah. It is interesting. I keep coming back to Karen in this situation, because I remember one of the best moments in season 1, one of the kind of like establishing character moments for her, is when Fisk's right-hand dude, whose name escapes me. Wesley, yeah. He's doing like the standard like Fisk playbook. He's got Kara, he's like kidnapped her, he's threatening her, and she fucking shoots him, and it's awesome. It's so good, because like she's not happy, obviously. Again, this is a matter of survival. This is doing what you have to do to get out alive. And there's a lot of religious and spiritual paradigms where that is actually like rule number 1. Like all other rules can be disregarded if it's a matter of the survival of you.
Yeah. Live by the rules, you don't die by the rules.
Exactly. And I do think that I don't remember exactly when Matt learns that she shot that guy.
I think it's season 3.
Yeah, I think so. And I know he's not like, oh my God, Karen, you did murder. I can never see it the same way again. It's like, oh my God, are you okay? And like in season 1, when Foggy finds out, he's the exact same way. He's like, oh my gosh, are you okay? What happened? Like, do you need us to like call somebody? You know, obviously I'll represent. And she's like, I don't have any money. And he's like, Jesus, Karen, obviously I'm not talking about that. And it's just like, oh my God, they're all such good friends. You know, the friends who slay together, stay together. But like in a show so overtly anchored in morality and the constant self-flagellation of the morality of their actions, having Foggy there to just kind of be like, hey man, I'm just doing my best and I'm mostly disconnected from this bad stuff is great. Having Karen there, who is mired in the worst of it, a person who's trying to do her best but is being dragged into all these terrible situations, she's another interesting point of contrast. She is the person who does not want to be in any of these situations, but because of her own moral compass, her own determination that Fisk has to be stopped, she keeps ending up in these situations. And because she's intentionally putting herself there, it's the terribleness of the situation that she doesn't want to be happening, but like she's the one who's trying to confront this head on. She's actually a very interesting mirror to Matt, in that she's also concerned with the well-being of her actions, but she's just a little bit more pragmatic about him than he is. Mm-hmm. She's just a little bit more like, most important is I get out of here alive, and then we solve the problem.
That's also why Karen is kind of chill with Punisher. It's like, yeah. But he does kind of kill a lot of bad people out there.
Yeah. She's like, listen, as
Matt's
somebody
like, Jesus, Karen, what the hell?
But at the same time, she's like, as a person who has killed a bad guy before, like, I can confirm sometimes that's what you gotta do. And I think it would be so much less interesting if she was just sort of this more like generic, I'm in trouble, I need to be saved by a big, strong, punchy guy. And the fact that like, when she solved, because like, oh no, she's been captured by bad guys, there's a gun on the table, it's like, wow, I can't wait for somebody to swing in and rescue her, and it's like, oh no, she fully just shot that guy. Cool. It's just, it adds this intriguing layer of depth to it, because a lot of this is kind of easy for Matt. Like, listen, Matt is constantly suffering throughout this show, but also he is an extremely badass, super-powered, highly trained ninja who's really, really good at punching stuff. It is kind of nice to see what happens when you see an actual normal person stuck in the meat grinder, having to make similar levels of terrible decisions and then having to live with the consequences of that. And again, with Karen, it's like, it's the support of her loved ones that helps her get out of that hole. So anyway, there's so much good shit in this show. I should rewatch the whole thing front to back, actually, even season 2, maybe it's even Defenders.
Really no, there's nothing in Defenders.
Okay.
Oh my God, Cleo, were you in the closet the whole time? I just saw on my camera, Cleo jumped out. She has a little basket of clothes and toys and stuff in my office supplies closet. I just saw her jump out. I'm like, holy shit, were you there this whole time?
I am the night.
She was a silent, watchful guardian.
Oh, jeez. Show good.
Yeah.
Slideshow good.
Really, really good show. I could go right now, sit downstairs and just like throw an episode on and just keep watching it again.
Oh, absolutely.
God.
It is funny to me how long it takes Matt to figure out that perhaps if he wears body armor, he will get stabbed slightly less.
It's a major plot point in the first season, but also he has to find someone who can make body armor good enough.
Still, though.
Because he can get some stuff off the internet. But,
or just like a Kevlar vest. It's like, oh, it turns out Kevlar is extremely not stab proof. It's just like, listen, I love the outfit design for season 1, but every single time he's out there in his like Abercrombie and Fitch off the rack black shirt, and then he's like, I've been stabbed again. It's like, Matt, after a certain point, you got to take a little accountability for how all these knives keep ending up in you.
Yeah. It is kind of funny that Matt basically switches between black and red and black and red and black on an alternating season basis. And if we consider Daredevil Born Again Season 2 as the 5th season, man's in black again.
Yeah. I also love how they handled having to redesign his helmet because it looked stupid at the end of Season 1. And they were like, oh, good news. He's just got shot point blank by the Punisher. And his whole helmet exploded. And now we need to build him one that doesn't look so much like a pug face. Show good. That's how you handle a retcon.
We could go on this forever, but I think we've
really
gotten to at least the conclusion of this thesis. So, Red, unless there's anything else that you want to fire off, any loose thoughts?
I already feel like I did the equivalent of my own extra slideshow in the middle of this slideshow, just fully off the dome. I haven't rewatched this show in like 4 years, by the way. I don't know where all this stuff came from. I guess it's just been percolating. Yeah, no, I think we covered a lot of good ground. I'm excited to give this a rewatch. I'm excited to see what people think about it, because I feel like mostly the conversation around Daredevil that I've been seeing has been since it got acquired by mainline Marvel and like Born Again started happening. I mostly just, or like when he cameoed in She-Hulk, which I haven't watched.
Yeah.
I did think that like, it's funny how you zeroed in on the fact that like Matt is incapable of being happy, because that was, now that I think about it, one of the things that kind of turned me away from trying to watch She-Hulk for his cameo was like, why is he smiling so much? That feels wrong.
He's having too good of a time. Yeah, he's in the wrong genre.
Yeah. What did they do to him? So anyway, good presentation. I'm excited to give this a revisit and see what people think.
Well, until Red watches through everything and has her own slideshow to show up with, bye!
Fantastic.